Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with the SAPI IP Business Talks. Today, we stay in Germany. We have with us, on the one hand, Sebastian Goebel. He is in Gelsenkirchen today, and he told me that it is foggy there. Same here in Munich. And we are live. That means that it would be great when you give us your comments, your interests, your perspectives in the comments, and then we can pick that up in our discussion. And we have with us today Udo Gennari. Udo comes from Austria, and he will join us in our live chat. So first of all, thank you very much, Sebastian, that you take the time to join us, to be with us today live and talking with us about a very, very important topic. It is simply rattling and shaking the whole IP world. And so we will take the time to talk about artificial intelligence, especially generative AI and what it is doing with the IP profession, with IP experts, especially in the patent world. So first of all, Sebastian, can you tell us where you're coming from and how did you came into this strange field of IP, please?
Okay, Alex. First of all, thank you for having me. It's an exciting topic today. But let's start with the introduction. So my name is Sebastian Goebel. I'm a patent attorney and founding partner of Goebel in Meerbusch, next to Düsseldorf, Germany. But today I'm in my home office in Gelsenkirchen. And yes, I have been working now in the field of IP for more than 10 years. But before it was a different field. As you may be aware of, every patent attorney must have a scientific background and practical experience in a technical field. So I studied electrical engineering and information technology. And for my master degree, the focus was slightly more on physics, especially laser technology and photonics. And I also worked in my former life as a software developer, including with AI in the field of pattern recognition. So my main focus as a patent attorney now is, of course, also the patenting of AI and software. You ask how I came to be how it came to that I become a patent attorney. And the decision was quite spontaneous during my master study. A friend of mine was also a patent attorney, and this is why I found out a little bit more about it. What I didn't like as a software developer was that you really had, you have to deal with a project for a rather long time. It's a lot of maintenance and everything. But as a patent attorney, it's extremely varying and exciting because you have short projects, patent applications, for example, on your desk for maybe 1, 2, or 3 days. So I like this variety. I like that it's always exciting. This is exactly what I need for my daily work. And to the software developer thing, as I said, this was my former life, but I'm still developing software now. I have always been a fan of automating repetitive routine tasks. And also when I started to become a patent attorney, I created my own tool for this. It's, to be a little bit more concrete, it's a Word add-in that supports me in many drafting tasks. So, for example, I can manage reference time, autocomplete, and things like this.
Sorry, no, I just say makes a lot of sense. I mean, this change of work, this dynamic is fascinating, and there are people who love to work on one project for years, and others like you and me, they are happy to change the focus quite quickly. So I would like to start with a very concrete question. Okay, so you have this forum seminar where you teaching, showing people different tools with AI and how that can help in their daily work. So AI is obviously, I mean, that is a commonplace, right? AI is transforming our processes, how we work in the IP field, in patents, in trademarks, brand management. Also, AI changes the copyright issues. So, are there specialized tools commercially available so that people can really work with it, which you would suggest, which you have experience with, and especially we have this privacy discussion out there, and I guess many people don't understand at the moment that we have also cloud-based tools which have no privacy issues at all because you work in a closed shop like with GPT or others. So that would be that's my first question. So which tools are available, and what is your recommendation and why?
Okay, of course, I could give some recommendations. I also think you have a quite nice overview recently on your Dplex website, which is great. Maybe we can put a link to this.
Yes, of course.
And yeah, there is I don't want to mention any names now because it really depends on your needs. Yeah, so if someone asked me for a concrete recommendation, I would first ask him and interview him. What are the needs? What is the purpose for it? Sometimes you also find out that AI is not necessary at all because every task needs another tool. Yeah, you have to find the right tool that suits the job that you wanted to have for. And I started a newsletter right now with a small introductory course about generative AI in the IP field. And the newsletter starts with a message. The golden rule is that you shouldn't use AI if there's an easier option. Yeah. So you.
Okay, got you. Uh-huh.
So you
Okay,
have good
can you?
tools. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay, but just as an example, so let's use, I don't know, the difference between, let's say, Perplexity and ChatGPT. So this more general purpose tools compared to something which is more specific to patent drafting. So Bastian Best showed us, for example, one of the protagonists here, that it is about prompting, that it is that this is a question of the workflow, and obviously a tool like Perplexity or like ChatGPT, they do not support workflows. So could you explain us here a little bit more the difference? So why is it so important that you have a tool which supports workflows?
Yeah, sure. So the tools that you can get are usually frameworks that provide a lot of automation. Yeah, so it's AI is one part of it, but there's a lot of more to it. So much of the assistance that you can get from these tools in the drafting process is based on conventional automation. For example, for our work, sometimes you need conventional rule-based algorithms. That makes much more sense. But the special feature of generative AI is that it can understand and create text. So this is the important role of AI here. And maybe some examples. Yeah, you can use it in the drafting process on the input side. You can use it at the output side, or both. For example, for the input, you have the description of a process of the invention, and you could create flow chart for it. Yeah? So the output is an image, but the input is text. Or you use it on the output side. Yeah? You have, for example, as input an image, the sketch of the invention, and you create a figure description for the patent application. Or the most important part is, of course, both. You have input text, for example, the invention disclosure, and you use AI to help you to write a few paragraphs in the description to describe more details.
Okay, got you. Here I just want to show to the audience. So here, this is the Deeplek site, and we have here a wonderful downloadable document with a okay, that doesn't work at the moment. Okay, but we make sure that it will work, and there you can download your explanation of different tools and also of different pros and cons, especially also the privacy issues are discussed here. So you said we have input side and we have our output side. So we have these discussion, this connotation of AI that there is a kind of hallucination. So you never prompted it, and the AI just give you an, let's say, artificial hallucinated output, which is not real, which does not exist, whether in the input data nor in the data which you has as a context window. So how can you make sure with these tools that there is no problem at the end of this hallucination? So what is your experience with that, and how can you monitor that?
Yes, good question. So this is one reason why I say to use AI or generative AI properly, especially in IP as an attorney. You need to understand it, how to use it and how it works. And the hallucinations, they are an inherent feature of generative AI, especially like the transformer model of ChatGPT and so on. So it's not something that we just can ignore, or where we can hope that it gets massively better. We just have to deal with it. It can be useful, like hallucinations can also be useful because if you need creative input, then you may be happy if the AI outputs something that is new. But often as an attorney, you want to rely on information. And this is a big issue. Like the cases that we all know, the lawyers in US, Australia, that sent wrong citations to the court. This shouldn't happen. And always the main issue was that the user wasn't understanding the tool. I don't know how the tool has been promoted, but the use of the tool wasn't right. So what you can do, there are the first rule is, of course, always proofread the output. This is very simple, but there are more sophisticated solutions for this. I really love the feature of generative AI that is called Ask You Data, or there are also other names. That means that you can chat with the document rather than reading it line by line. Especially patent attorneys, they have to read.
Can you explain how that works? I mean, that sounds completely strange that you chat with a document. How does that work?
So, you mean the technical background or the mechanics, or do you need the user side?
What does happen there?
Yeah, okay. So from the user side, it's like this. You have the chatbot like ChatGPT, and you just ask questions. Like, is this disclosed in the document? Does it show this? How is this term defined? And so on. Or look for a special feature like this in the patent application or what else. So this is the user side. Then usually you get some paragraphs. The tool will mention some paragraphs and say, okay, I found something here and here and here. And you can have a closer look into the paragraphs if the interpretation of the chatbot is right. Because the chatbot will give you an answer to your question and say, yes, it is disclosed, or yes, it is defined, but the interpretation of the chatbot could be wrong. He's not a patent expert. So what you should do is to proof it, and you can do it quite easily because you get the paragraphs. If your question is how does it work, usually it works.
My point is especially that because 2 weeks ago I was at Microsoft in Berlin, and Satya Nadella made a big show about the question. So the CEO from Microsoft explained how the way we work with computers will change. And what you told us here is something I would say it's completely astonishing. And my point is always that I say, simply from the way how people are talking about AI, I can see in a minute whether somebody is using it or somebody just makes philosophy about it. And this point, what you said, that that at the end you ask a chatbot uh, that what you forgot, or what is disclosed, or what exactly is in the document, with a citation, that changes the way how we work with a computer. Okay, what we expect how a computer. So the good old fashioned way is that it is a typewriter, and at the end of the day, I'm reading line by line what I wrote, with all the problems which are in that kind of approach, because you in your head processing information typically in a different way. We think in associations. We would like to ask questions, like to attorney, and I would like to ask you questions, and then you answer in natural language what happens there and what is relevant, and give me a citation where I can check whether this is there or not. So this is a different way of thinking compared to reading line by line what I wrote. And especially with this reading, the problem is we have to process this information in our brain, and asking ourselves, is that now consistent? And did we mention this or that? And what you said is you simply ask the system questions, and then depending on the system you're using, you get in natural language, in German, for example, when you are German, or in Spanish when you're Spanish, your answer. So that is a completely different way of working with that tool. And I think that will change a lot. That at the end, I'm not programming a computer anyhow. So I'm telling the computer what I would like to see, and the computer is transforming that into an answer, into a result. And it isn't that so that this changed the work also of a patent attorney, especially of a patent attorney, how the draft is made.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an amazing technology, and like a few years ago, you would consider this as science fiction, that you can now talk to the computer instead of the usual way how we did it before. So it mainly is focused on language, but this is also something we patent attorneys focus on. So of course, it is crucial for us to deal with this new technology.
And I think when somebody have seen, okay, that you tell the machine, for example, you start with claims, and you say, okay, make me this and that claim. So you tell the machine that you would like to see this and that claim. So then the machine is doing the claims according to a document, an invention disclosure, whatever. And then you say something like, make that broader. Okay. And to a certain extent, I mean, that's the magic in it. Yeah, that you say make them broader, and then the AI is giving you claims which have a significant broader scope, and then you say no, not that much broader. I would like to see it more in this or that direction, and then the machine continuously adapt the claims. And that is something when you have never seen it, you don't believe it that it works, but it works, and it is amazing. Yeah, because you tell the machine what the machine should do, and at the end of the day, the machine is responding in a serious, significant way. And obviously, this is not just a stupid ChatGPT. This is obviously an application which runs on an LLM, but has on top a deep understanding of patent law. And that is something I assume many people have never seen and cannot believe that this works very well. And so one question for me is also, what are you doing? So obviously you're using that, and how do you tell your clients that you are using that. So how do the clients react to the question whether you are using AI or not?
Okay, so first, transparency is goal here. It's a goal. You need to be transparent when you use AI, in my opinion. This is why I talk open with it with clients. Asking also, like when it's a patent department, I also ask them how they use it, if they use it, what is their opinion about it, and of course you have to discuss if you want to use it locally or in the cloud. Yeah, because in the cloud, it's sometimes an issue depending on the policy of the company or of the patent department. The local use is not really critical because nothing is sent to the internet. The tool I'm using, or we use also in our law firm, is based completely on local language models like Llama or Gemma. Maybe you've heard about it. And this is great because you really don't have to worry what happens to the data. You have the full control. A negative side is that they are less powerful because your local hardware is usually less powerful. But the improvement in the last year is so much better. I'm sorry?
You have no NVIDIA blades at home?
I want to. If you invest a little bit money, like a good gaming computer, you already have much more than I have. I'm just using it on the laptop, and it's still enough because, as I said, the models improved a lot over the last months. And if you invest a little bit more, if you are a law firm with some employees, then you could afford maybe a bigger computer that everyone could use over the internal network. So there are really good options for this too. And you just have to use it for the very for the things that have to be confidential, like the new inventions. After patent application has been published, you don't have to worry, and you could also use ChatGPT, of course.
So what is your experience with different LLMs? So is there really a qualitative difference on the one hand, or is it mainly what Udo asked right now? Thank you for the question, Udo. So is it basically the quality of the prompt? So what is your experience about that? Is it the quality of the prompt mainly, or is it mainly the kind of LLM which you're using?
Yeah, I would say both. Of course, the model has its limitations, and you have to know what you're using it for. As I said in the beginning, like if it has an easier option, then you should use it. Why should you use this expensive model like ChatGPT, which usually costs a lot? It will cost more than now in the future, I guess. Or maybe for many applications, it's enough to use a local model. And especially for like when I get an invention disclosure, it helps me to use this Ask Your Data feature with the invention disclosure. It helps me to use this Ask Your Data feature with other documents, state-of-the-art, prior art documents. It also helps me to do a brainstorming. I think this is one of the most important features that you can use also locally, to find a good claim language, to find problems with your initial claim that you drafted. There, the local models are also very helpful. It depends, of course, on the context. Let's say it's like the knowledge of the model. Local like language models are no knowledge models; they are language models. But of course, the context is important. And ChatGPT has a big context. It knows a lot. It has been trained with a lot of training data. The local models are much smaller. They have less neurons, so you can't expect them to know already a lot. You have to provide the information with the prompt. So here comes the prompting into play. Of course, you need to know how to prompt, and you need to know what are the limitations, and you need to know how you can put your context into the prompt in the right way, and how to ask the right. Like it's a lot of engineering. The prompt engineering is a lot of technical skills that you have to learn.
Yeah. So okay, we have to train the model on the concrete case. I mean, that is something which people should understand, that it is no problem to collect some 100 patent documents, for example, and just upload it and train with that document the model in your state of the art in this specific field. And then you discuss, I mean, that is these fascinating thing. You talk with the model about the state of the art, and you ask what can separate your invention from the state of the art, and what could be inventive here, and using certain trees or whatever. I mean, that is a way of interacting with a computer which yeah, is astonishing and never happened before. So your experience is that when you use, so that's my understanding, when you use a cloud-based system like ChatGPT with all the privacy which they guarantee now, or especially when you use it in the framework of Microsoft, so they guarantee you an isolated space which is not connected with the internet, which is not used for training or whatever. I mean, we are not 2 years ago, yeah. So it's now all these issues are solved. It's simply that people don't know it. But what you say is you use a local model so typically to make sure that there is no connection to the internet, and then you train the content, you train the system, that you have the opportunity to discuss about the claims, the state of the art, the separation of the state of the art. This is what I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Right. And the
Okay.
idea of training and fine-tuning, you should know that this is something that in the future will be done much more by the user side, the companies that use it, or even the single users. And yeah, this brings us to another important aspect. Take care of your data. Like, take care that your data is secured, but take care that your data is also in a format and it's collected for yourself, that you can use it in the future for these applications that make you maybe more competitive than others.
I mean, that is a fascinating discussion, because for a long time, I would say 10 years or so, the computers itself made no difference, right? So we had these machines at home or in the office, and was just I don't know what, an Fujitsu and Dell and whatever machine with a standard configuration of some gigabyte RAM and some Intel processors. And now with these AI and the sometimes necessity to use it local, we have to take care again about the machines, and it makes a difference which kind of computer you have. And I think that is something which is completely new, at least to my knowledge and my experience, that you really have to take care which kind of data you have on premise, which kind of machines you have on premise, and that this is that you can create a competitive edge based on your local computer installation. I mean, that is, at least to me, that sounds strange, because for a long time that was just infrastructure, just there. You have a screen, you have a keyboard, and nobody cares which machine is behind that. Is that something in which your law firm is investing? Is that something which you recommend, or you say, okay, at the end, a normal whatever laptop computer out of the shelf is okay?
Yeah. So in the moment, my suggestion is first invest in knowledge before you invest in hardware. Yeah. Because you can't use the hardware if you don't have the knowledge. That's very clear. So you need the stuff that is able to handle it, but you also need the users that know what they want, because you have to tell someone, yeah, please implement this in this way. I need these functions, and I need software that is able to help me with these tasks. So the users have to know what they want, and then you need the specialist who can realize it. So let's start here, I would say.
Got you. So it starts in the brains, right? So people have to learn how to work with it, what can be done, and the barriers are very low. So you simply need access to that. And I mean that is this, by the way, another fascinating discussion that that some companies avoid the costs of a professional account to different tools, which cost typically some 20 euros a month, something like that. Okay, so and when we compare that to the hours of reduction of workload which we can generate compared to this 20 euros which you have to pay for getting a professional account, this is ridiculous. But my experience is that people discussing that out there. So your recommendation, when I get you right, is that people should accompany with that, should learn how to use it. Is there a training out there? Do you know anything which we can attempt that? You mentioned your newsletter, so is there anything, especially for IP experts, maybe patent attorneys, patent experts, which we can use to get more familiar with that kind of technology?
Yeah, sure. So there are a few workshops that I could recommend, but for the fundamentals or the basics, this is where I provide also a workshop to
Brilliant.
to really train the knowledge, the basic knowledge that you need to use it. It's not about commercial tools. It's really about level higher. Yeah.
Yeah, got you. And this is a kind. I mean, what Katja says right now in the comments, she says that today it is absolutely essential to understand how prompt engineering works. I think sometimes I don't like this term prompt engineering. That sounds so sophisticated. At the end of the day, it is the question how you work with the machine. And this is exactly what Satya Nadella said, that it changes and you have to adapt to this change, that your computer can react in a completely different way, which, I mean, we see that with search, right? I mean, what we have now is this ChatGPT search or GPT search, or what I experience with Perplexity, that search is changing completely. And that I mean, 20 years of Google trained us to ask questions in a specific way that it fits to Google. And we are used to that. But there are kinds of questions which Google, and everybody knows that, which Google cannot answer to. Whatever you're asking, it doesn't work. Okay, you get a list of not relevant hits, and then you use an AI, an LLM based system like Perplexity or others, and you get a perfect answer for it, and you get the links where these answers comes from, and this is a completely different experience. And I guess what you say is this is the way we should get familiar with that system, so that we have to work with it, and then we see how it works. One point which I think Malte Kölner some days ago mentioned in a comment on LinkedIn to a post from me. I guess when we talked about your duplex site, and he said, my biggest issue is that I don't have the time to get familiar with it. So it is an investment which I have to make. And to a certain extent, I don't want or I cannot do that right now. So what is your recommendation on such a situation?
Yeah, it's an important point. So also, this is my experience when I ask people about it. Sometimes it's that they tested it, but they are disappointed. Others don't have the time to really test it. And it's really not that my goal is not to convince every patent attorney to use AI tools. Yeah, when patent attorneys say they are better off without AI, then it's okay. If they are like efficient, productive with other tools or even without tools, okay. But my goal is to make decision makers in law firms or in IP departments aware of it. So I think it's their role to to provide the necessary infrastructure that you need so that everyone who wants can use AI. I keep reading surveys that a lot of employees use ChatGPT or other tools without their employer knowing it, because they don't provide the structure and they don't provide the possibility to like an account, like a professional account, so they use their own tools, because everyone knows from their private use that it's quite helpful. Yeah, and people demand it, and in the future they will demand it even more.
Yeah, that is a fascinating trend. That in former days, 30 years ago, you went to the office to have the good stuff, the interesting technology, the latest tools, and to work with it because the companies provided that to you. And today, the opposite is the case. So you go at home and with your home computer, whatever that is, you have the cool stuff and you work with it. And that is a fascinating change over the time, that where that the demand for using it is at the people, and the companies, also the law firms, have to react to that. I mean, that is an interesting trend and tendency in general. So Udo has another interesting point. He says that they make something like prompt training. Okay, so that you get familiar with a certain prompting technique. So what is your experience with that? Is that a way to learn how to interact with AI?
This is a good starting point. The prompting is a skill that you have to learn. Yeah? As I said, of course, you have to know what happens when you insert the prompts, let's say, in the model, how it reacts and what are the mechanics behind it. You should have an idea about it, and not on the level as, let's say, Sam Altman or Geoffrey Hinton as a Nobel Prize winner, but you need the knowledge on a user level. And if you have this knowledge, then you can start with prompting. And prompting also helps you to find out what are the limits of the machine. So really try it out a lot. Just have fun with it. This is my recommendation.
Yeah. I mean, I work with Claude a lot, and it is absolutely crazy what this machine can do. And at the end, what I try to explain again and again is just tell the AI what you would like to see. That is the point. You explain in detail what you would like to have. I programmed a ping pong game. Okay, and I'm not a programmer, so 25 years ago, when I worked as a theoretical physicist, I wrote C and C++ code. So this is 2 decades ago, and I have no clue about Python or whatever. But explaining the machine what I would like to have and giving me a program which I can run directly at the end in my browser. That was, I mean, for me, that was absolutely astonishing that after 25 years of not programming, I can become a programmer again and create simply what I would like to have. And also, when you tell ChatGPT to create an GPT for you, which is doing something, I mean, that is what I think what is so strange or so new, that you simply explain what you would like to have. And the better you are in that, the better these machines react and give you what you would like to have.
Correct.
That is this new thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's let's say it's quite intuitive, but it's also full of pitfalls. So of course you could start and just saying, "Oh, this is what I want," and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And if it doesn't work, then don't be disappointed and leave it and say, "Oh, I don't use it, I don't like it." Yeah, it's there are ways around it, around these problems, and maybe you
Very
just
good point.
need to answer how to do it, how to prompt correctly, or what else you have to change.
I mean, to a certain extent, this is maybe where Gen Z or whatever, they have their advantages, because it is also in your case 20 years ago when you had the first contact with a computer. We were kids, and that means that we played around with these things. Okay, so we started to play around, and we wasted a day or 2 days to get something what we would like to see, and then we learned how to work with a computer. And today, as you said, a pattern attorney gets a 5-minute interaction with an LLM based system and says it doesn't work. No, you are simply not doing it in the right way. That doesn't mean that it doesn't work. It means that the interaction did not work out what you're expecting. So maybe you have to change the way how you interact. But that's a different thing. I mean, one question which burns on my fingertips is that we talked a lot now about this early filing. Okay, so the creation of a patent draft. So what is in the later stages of the patent process? Can AI help also there with office action, for example?
Yeah, there are a lot of use cases. And I think the best use cases still have to be invented, of course. This is we are talking about the S-curve of innovation. So a lot of use cases will come in the future, but you already can use it now. And I highly suggest to try it out for the prosecution phase or for oppositions, because this is where the application is already published. So you can use it without secret informations in ChatGPT. So you don't have so much effort for the tools or what else, and try out to give ChatGPT different roles, try out to ask for help or ask for a rating of your text that you have written, for example, that it is in compliance with certain rules. Maybe as a background, when we deal with office actions, it's of course about having good arguments. That something is novel and inventive, but it's also about following a guideline, that you have a legal guideline from the patent offices or so. And this is where AI can also help. To help you with I don't know, problem solution approach or anything else that you have to deal with there. And maybe another idea. I saw in one of the comments last week that consistency is something that people ask for. And if you have a patent portfolio, if you're responsible in the patent department for a patent portfolio, usually you want to defend your patent application in a way that you limit your claim to something that is useful, that you can use your company, that has a value for your company. That means often you don't want to have the same limitation as you have already in other patents. So comparing the possible limitation with all the other patents in your portfolio, like kind of a white spot analysis, this is something that can be automated, which it would be so much more effort to do it by hand, I would say.
Absolutely. And we talk about thousands of patents in case. I saw. So when you talk about ChatGPT, I mean that is just. It could be also Gemini AI or Claude or Perplexity or any of these systems. And one thing should be clear to the audience: the systems know the patent law. That first of all, okay, they know the patent law. I mean, they can use it. And this is the fascinating thing. So discussing with Gemini, I saw this use case a week ago that the patent attorney discussed about certain claim construction, about the enforceability of them. Okay, so what is in this case the best way to create the claims to make the best way of enforceability, and explain me why. I mean, this is fascinating. Okay, the machine tells you how the machine would create the claims for the perfect exclusive, for the perfect enforceability, and why the machine thinks that this generates or this creates the best way of enforceable claims. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. And this at least when it is just somebody, so to speak, you can talk to about this kind of things. Okay, it's like drinking a coffee with a partner, Tony, or let it be a trainee. But at the end, you can talk with somebody about that issues.
Yeah. Of course, you have to consider that the models, they are based on probability. So the output is based on what is probable, right? But of course, they don't really understand the logic of the legal aspects. They don't understand the logic of the law. They don't understand the logic of the inventions. This is something you are responsible for as a patent attorney. But they can give you a very good first idea or a draft. Like something that would be probably the most helpful starting point. It's like if you have a blank canvas, it's so difficult to start. But if you have already something, then you can improve it. I think this is an important aspect, because this may be the reason why a lot of patent attorneys are disappointed, why laymen, if they use it for legal work, they are so happy, it's so much cheaper. But of course, often it's wrong. So I would like to see it more in the hand of the professionals, not in the hand of the layman.
Okay, Sebastian, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to your Forum Institute seminar, which you provide, where you go. This is a workshop where you go in depth of all these issues. This was just a first starter to talk about. We see that this is a multifaceted issue, and it is absolutely necessary to go into the practice, to use it, and you will show the guys in the seminar, in the workshop, how to work with it. Thank you very much for taking the time. Thank you to all of you in the audience. And I asked Sebastian to stay with us for a certain time on LinkedIn, and he will answer your questions. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. And thank you for taking the time for this IP Business Talk.